We'll take about we'll take about 1 more minute and let everybody trickle in. So I hope everyone's at the right training today. We have a wonderful hour plan with Dylan from Nerchat. He's going to tell us all about our Glint. This is session 1 of 2. And the first session, we're just going to go over some high level, what is Glint? He's going to tell us the origin story, kind of share some of the great features, some of the great work he's doing with districts and community. And then for our second session, we're going to dive in even deeper, and he's going to give you an opportunity to bring maybe a specific case that you have in mind and to play around with the tool as well. So if you're able, please attend both sessions. We would love for you to get on some extra hands-on activities for our next session. All right. We'll give it about 1 more minute and then we'll jump into some housekeeping stuff and then move aside and let Dylan talk. Hi, everyone. For those that just joined us, we're going to get started shortly. We're just letting a couple more people in and letting them get settled. We will be recording our session today, and it will be posted on our open access website. So keep a lookout for that if you need to go back and reference or share the webinar with someone else. And as a reminder, this is part 1 of a 2-part series. So join us for the second session for more hands-on activities if you can.
Stay very cautious.
All right. I think maybe let last person in and shall we get started? Let's go ahead and get started. So again, welcome to our session today. We're so excited for you to be with us today. And Open Access is really excited to partner with Nerchat for today's webinar featuring Glint. And Glint is a tool to really designed to support communication and participation for learners in flexible and accessible ways. And Dylan's going to walk us all through it and tell us all the tips and tricks and share all the features about the tool. Before we jump into today's content, we're going to share a little bit about who we are at Open Access and our accessibility promise and orient you to where you can find all the resources we will be sharing today. Okay, so Dylan, if you want to jump on to the overview of the presenter page. There you go. So I'd like to start by introducing the amazing presenter joining us on today's call, Dylan Makani. He's the founder of Nerchat, and we're going to give him most of the time today so he can tell us all about the wonderful tool that is Glint. But we also want to introduce a little bit about who we are at Open Access and our Open Access content lead. Jennifer Wright is our augmentative and alternative communication content lead, and I'm Amy Zimlick, our assistive technology and universal design for learning content lead. Again, thank you all for being here. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are here at Open Access. So Dylan, if you'll do that, perfect, thank you. Open Access is one of the statewide special education resource lead within the statewide system of support. And we're really grounded in the foundational belief that with access to quality instruction, all of our students can engage, actively participate, and learn with inclusive settings. And what makes our projects really unique is that we highlight the importance of learning and participation through universal design for learning, assistive technology, and augmentative and alternative communication. So please bookmark our website to access free universal resources for educators and administrators, and all designed to kind of support the implementation of UDL, AT, and AAC. If you click on the image, you can access a one-page flyer detailing our 3-tier approach to assisting LEAs and SELPA statewide. So our 3-tier approach is a universal level, a targeted level, and intensive support. And it tells you a little bit more about what we do at those levels. But our ultimate goal here at Open Access is that we want to highlight inclusive practices in action, right? And so we have highlighted these showcase sites, and we currently have 3 UDL and 1 AAC showcase sites across California, with 3 more UDL and 3 more AAC showcase sites in development. And if you are interested in visiting one of these sites, that's also available to you as well. And we can drop a link in the chat, so for you to see where to go to find that information. All right, so next I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our Open Access Accessibility Promise. And so, here at Open Access, we're really committed to UDL principles and making our presentation as accessible as possible. So some of the strategies you'll see today will include simple backgrounds with high contrast text, We try to provide digital and printed materials if we were in person. You can access our slide deck using tiny URL or QR codes. We provide alt text for all of our images, and we try to share multiple examples and non-examples of topics and concept whenever possible. And lastly, we really love your engagement and participation, and so there'll be opportunity throughout this webinar for you to engage with us as well. Next, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some where you can find some of our resources. So you can always visit our open access website to explore more tools and professional learning opportunities, all with the idea of supporting accessible, inclusive education. We've also put in Nerchat's products and supports. Link there. You can go and visit their website and find out all about the company and the great things that they're doing there. And lastly, we have a home base document. You can scan it with a QR code or click on the link. And this is kind of a center where you will find all of our slide deck links and any additional resources that we may share today, including some of the Q&As that will follow. And don't forget, if you will miss session one, we're also going to have it recorded and posted on our website. So you can also find the link there as well. Okay, now that housekeeping is done, we always like to start off our professional learning session with something that we call an inclusive welcome. Now, we didn't make this term up. It's one of the signature practice from CASEL, the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. And really, there are many ways to do this practice, but the idea is that we're just trying to build connection before we get started. Okay, so we know this time of this year can feel especially full, right? You have meetings, reports, celebrations, transition, and somehow also trying to just wrap up all the things before summer. And so before we jump in, let's do a quick check-in together. So please share in the chat or aloud your name, your location, your role, and how full is your plate right now? Is your plate maybe a light snack, a full meal, an all-you-can-eat buffet, or is the kitchen completely on fire? So feel free to share in the chat or aloud. Oh, we're seeing a couple of kitchens on fire. Yeah, that sounds really on brand for me. I'm gonna say all you can be okay somewhere, not quite fire, but getting there. Full meal. I love it. Oh, I got someone from Arizona. Hi, Anna. Welcome. And I see that we have a range of specialists here and participant, and we love getting a range of participant in our group because you guys bring so much different insights and shared experience and lived experience. So please feel free to, engage with us and share with us your thoughts and your experience. We love it. Oh, Jen, are you seeing this? We're seeing a lot of kitchen on fire. All right.
Thank you for taking the time to show up today with your kitchens on fire.
I
I know
know.
Dylan is ready to hopefully put some of those flames out for us
I
today.
know. And again, we just appreciate you creating kind of space where just being here with us and kind of so it's end of year, our brains are full of learning and you guys are still here showing up. I really so appreciate you for that. So without taking any more time, I'm going to turn it over to Dylan and he's going to share with us all about Glint.
Awesome. Thanks, Mimi and Jennifer, so much for having me here. Super, super excited. I mean, my play right now also, I feel like I'm also round the kitchen on fire. So I definitely relate to everyone here. Well, welcome everyone for being here. I'm super excited. I'm seeing some familiar faces, which is great. And if not, nice to meet you. This session is going to be all about Glint. It's going to be about our story. It's going to be about our mission, built for anyone if it's the first time you're hearing about us or if you've used us for a while. This is essentially the masterclass of Glint. So you're going to get this whole taste of who we are, what we do, where we are, and also where we're going. So really excited to kind of jump in here. And the way I love to do these things is just it's very informal. If you want to like put things in the chat or like even speak up, we can do all that. That's all we're all about it. So we'll go through and pretty much talk about Glint and talk about the story. So my favorite thing about being in this space, and I was just talking about Jennifer and Mimi with this, is like everyone's genuine connection to the field. So, often when I go in places, I ask the story, like, how'd you get into it? How'd you start becoming an SLP? How'd you start getting an education? My connection was a friend of mine. So I went to school at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, and I got involved with this program called Best Buddies, where I made a very close friend who was using an AAC device. And at the time, I really had no idea what AAC even meant. And I came in with this fresh perspective, but we became such good friends. Every time I kept going back and forth between New York and Nashville, we would lose touch. And I always wished that there would be a better way to stay in touch with him. And this put me on this whole path of seeing, you know, how's he living his life? How is school going for him? So I started to work with him in his school district and some, community centers and really dive in deep with that. So one of the things that stuck out was visuals, and visuals were such an important part about how, learners like him were being supported in schools. So what I found was that visuals were being made, in such a cumbersome way. We were hearing that, SLPs and other specialists were spending their Sundays and 6 hours, manually dragging and dropping, making supports, and, sometimes even paying out of pocket for pre-mates on other platforms. And it just felt like a system that didn't, wasn't doing justice to who, it was built for. And not to mention high caseloads, so many specialists and therapists talking to us about I wish I could be making more. I wish I could be doing more, but I simply just don't have enough time. And it's not really having to do with like competency, really, but more of just, the time and the structure. Sometimes you're in a place where you have a high caseload. You're just put in a place where you have a lot of people relying on you, and you really wish you could get there and have the visuals, but it's time at the end of the day. So, it's all about the structure, it's all about the processes. So we said, what could we do to actually jump in here and do something that would have a positive impact? So we built something better. So myself, along with my co-founder, Scott, who I'll quickly plug, he went to high school with me. I wish I put some photos of this. Actually, maybe I'll bring it for the next session. Scott and I went to high school in Long Island together, and we always competed in science competitions. This is something we were very voraciously into. Um, we were always inventive. And every year I would always go back to Scott because he was known to be like the smartest guy in the school. And he, from a young age, was very inventive. He had a patent to save children from heat strokes in closed vehicles. And that was one of his inventions. So every year I'd go to Scott and pitch him ideas. And I'd say, Scott, I want to build this. I want to build that. And every year I'd get the same no's. Like he would always reject it and be like, no, this is not the right idea. It's not this, that. While he went to Columbia, I went to Vanderbilt. I would always pitch him things. And I think that this topic specifically really hit home. Specifically, also, he had his sister who was working in the space, and she was also making visuals herself. Um, and he kind of related to this on a deep level because he realized, the kind of the issue at hand. So he was working at Google, and I finally got him to leave Google to work on something, more meaningful with us. So really exciting. We could build something. Our journey has been really, really exciting. We launched Glint in July of this past year. It started in one district in Tennessee and it started spreading after I posted a TikTok in July. And yeah, it was funny. And that's how we kind of got our foot in the door initially. It was all these districts starting to reach out. Back in July, I also was in medical school. That's when I started. And it was a crazy time of life where I had to balance being a medical student and, speaking to many different types of districts and specialists. So fun time. Now we're here. We're all full time. We're all working on it. And this is the culmination of what you're seeing here. It kind of took the world by storm, and everything that you see was built hand in hand with specialists and therapists because we couldn't have done it without hearing. Even before we wrote a single line of code, we took, 6 months to a year to just listen, to hear more about the problems and the back end things that were happening. So everything you're about to see is going to be a culmination of that feedback. So we're going to hop over to my interactive demo in just a sec. But three things I just wanted to anchor with as takeaways. Like if you were to describe Glint to someone, and I just wanted like three takeaways about like what we do here. Number one, it's just how easy it is to create with Glint, meaning anyone can now create. Educators, therapists, even parents are getting on Glint and now making things for their children, which is so amazing. The second thing is access methods, which we're going to get into really in depth. And the third is this kind of communal aspect of Glint, which has to do with support and iteration.
Hi.
So we'll get into all that. It's going to be super exciting. Now, time for the interactive demo. And my gift, our gift from the Glint family, is going to be this QR code. It's a special open access branded Nerchat link. So if you go ahead and you want to follow along with me as I go through this demo, you can go ahead, scan this QR code, and get a free trial to Glint. It's going to be completely premium, all access, and you can pretty much follow along while I do these things right now. So I'm gonna leave it up for a little bit more time. If you want to go to this link, you can type it in, scan the QR code, put in your email. It'll send you this actual email with some login info, and you can just go ahead and try logging in. And we have Scott in the chat. If you're not getting a verification, you can go in and just say, "Hey, Scott, please help me," and he'll fix it for you. Okay. So I'll just hopefully everyone's gotten it. If they haven't, we'll put it back in the chat. Let's flip over. We're going to go to Glint itself. I'm going to refresh my page actually, because I want the full sidebar. Alrighty. Hopefully we're all seeing my screen. Like I mentioned, this is going to be the absolute masterclass for Glint right now. We're going to go through so many cool things. I'm going to be able to share with you how we made certain decisions, what we're making in the future. You might see some experimental things on here, so keep it very quiet if you see it. And yeah, please ask questions, jump in the chat. If you want me to dive into anything, just ask, say the word, and we'll get into there. Now, hopefully you're all logged in, or if not, you're just watching me. This is our nice homepage over here. So at the very top, we see some examples. These things floating are what we call templates that we can create within Glint. And at the bottom, we have this box, which I call the Glint box. Now, for the purposes of this example, we're going to go ahead and see everything we can create with Glint. So we're going to click on this button that says Browse Templates or Select a Template. Clicking on that, ooh, we already see a spoiler alert over here. There's three categories of templates. There's classics, activities, and devices. So starting from the classics, these are some of the highest yield speech pathology and special ed templates that we heard from the audience. Starting from simple grids to social stories, task analysis, flip books, schedules, checklists, WH questions, minimal pairs, sentence strips, fill in the blanks, first thens and recipes, bingo boards, contingency maps, token boards, and social story books. So like I said, these are all the most highly recommended from the inception when we first started Glint. The second part we have over here, they're known as the activities. These are more digital based, things that are more interactive and dynamic. We're talking about things like making amounts, like matching games, word building, an alternative pencil, tic-tac-toe, dots and boxes, spinners, and even dice. And then the last subject over here, we have these devices, our handy dandy printouts that we can slot right into devices that we might have been using for years already, like the GoTalks. Got a ton of different types of GoTalks from Attainment, like the Taquito device. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, definitely a cool device to check out. It's RFIDs, and you can tap on specific objects and hear voice output. And then the Quick Talker, and an enabling technology device that we found at a really cool school in New York City called iHope. So yeah, we're constantly looking for more of these types of things to add. So as you come across things that you don't see here that you want, all you got to do is click here and request a new template. We'll get back to that point later, but that's how we built Glint, is all about this feedback. So I'm going to start from the top, and I think I'm going to make a simple grid to start with everyone. So all I got to do is click on my simple grid. Now, once you have something selected, you actually have three options to choose from. The first option has to deal with sizing. If you have a different template, this will generally be a number. So it could say like 4 or 5, and that's how many. For a grid, we're going to be looking at a grid size, which you get to change. I'm going to go for a 3 by 3 here just to practice. Language, we're going to come back to. Glint can speak over 50 languages. But we're going to start with English. Last but not least, we have this word complexity over here. Word complexity is similar to a reading level. We'll stay with that. Okay, now we're going to get started. The way that Glint works is you can actually type in, if you know what symbols you want already, you can type them in separated by commas, and Glint would pull it right in for you into the grid. If you don't know, and if you just have a general topic or concept, you can just type it in right over here. So if I hope this group likes coffee, I'm going to type in coffee shop, and that's all I need to type in. I hit enter, and I'm already finished. Glint is now creating for us a 3 by 3 board about words related to a coffee shop. So then a couple seconds, we're here. It's generated with the snap of a finger, right? So I did a really like boring example, but you'll be able to type in your own things and see other really, really advanced things. That'll be kind of part two, like the next session. We'll be getting more in depth, but let's go through this as an exercise. Board is created. It's great. Let's see something about this. Everything we click
Coffee.
has voice output. Anything you click on Glint will come equipped with this. And we do this very intentionally because we know the evidence base tells us when you're combining text, image, and voice, it's really impactful for our learning, our speech outcomes, and more. So everything has that. Now, how do I go about editing something that I've created? There's going to be a button on the top right that says Edit Visuals. When I click on that, we have our editing interface over here. First things first, I can drag and drop, can move things around. So everything is super easy to drag and move. Let's go ahead and actually edit a specific symbol. So what if I wanted to click on the coffee symbol, right? So when you select a symbol, all the related words are already waiting for you. This is the symbol stick set. So hopefully if you might be familiar, you'll notice that you can change the word on top and get a new piece from the set. All of them are here, but I'll stick with coffee. Now, we got a couple of other really cool options that you can have in addition here. Firstly, you can upload your own images. So family photo, favorite snack, get up close and personal. It's all private and secure to your account. The second thing you can do, you can click on this pencil. This pencil brings you to a canvas-like experience. You can, minimize things. I can add a symbol and overlay. What if I wanted coffee and a table? I'm going to put table here, put my coffee on the table, and bring it to the front, make it small. Coffee on the table. That's all I had. I can even go advanced here and, really draw on this, put shapes or change all these different types of colors. So this is my little symbol editing interface. It's cool because when you save that, you now have that recurring symbol that you can use later. Other things I can do, I can change the speaking text. So if I wanted to say I love coffee, and I click on it, it can be different than what it says coffee over here. This red icon also allows you to program your voice into any button. So if you want a speech output, like on phonemes or something you're working on, you can really just go in, program your voice. Bottom left has YouTube links. By popular demand, we added the ability to even add videos into a button where you can clip them, and it's really nice. My last plug here is going to be the real photos. So how many people have, learners who prefer a real photograph and not a stick figure, right? You can click on this G button on the top right and get a real photo of anything you want in the world. What's really cool about this is I can actually have a background remover. If I select this at the top and then click on, I actually think this looks really good. So I'm going to click on that coffee and say, hey, I want this, but I want reduced, visual clutter. Boom, it can crop it. So this had a couple of coffees. It tried to give me both, but that's how I can actually reduce this background effect. So it's really nice to have. So that's how we edit things in a nutshell and when it comes to symbols. Does everyone feel good so far on this? All right, nice. Seeing some head nods. I'm loving that. Let's talk a little bit about styles. So for those who love being creative, this is for you. When you hover over any specific symbol, you have the option to edit backgrounds and borders, to edit the fonts, or even copy paste. If you wanted to do multiple things at once, you can click on select and select a couple and then change the color. Say, hey, I want them to be blue. I can make this a darker, more opacity. Can change the borders. All of that is located at the bottom. Brand new, we also have a background feature. If you wanted a different background for this, you can upload an image for your background. Brand new. Um, so that is styles. Now, if you want to add a component to this, you could always add rows or columns with the plus buttons. Also notable, what if you wanted to change the size of a button? You can just actually drag and resize something to take up more of the screen. And then if you go back, it's all still there. All right, so we did some of that editing stuff. Let me take you through the top. The top has a couple of extra special things. Your undo is over here. If you click on images, it hides the images and just gives you words. If I click on text, it hides the text and just gives me symbols. You can always click translate to translate what you've created into another language, but we're going to do the second example with another language. This button over here that says more has some accessibility features. Borders, spacing, fonts, colors, and even high contrast. So if I select this, I can apply a broad base filter across all of our symbol stick symbols, and it has high contrast on it. This is our first iteration, and we have a couple other coming out, but this is one of our modes for, visual needs. Last but not least, we got this over here, which is skin tones. When we're thinking about trying to be culturally sensitive and different types of backgrounds, we want to be able to give you the ability to have random and all the other skin tones here. So that's all you need to know about editing so far. Does everyone feel good? All right. Yep, that's now editing is going to be the same on anything we do with Glint. So we're going to get to this fun part over here, which is talking about how do people use this today? So fortunately, we've had the opportunity to see tens of thousands of people create things with Glint. So the use cases are so varied. I'm going to give you all the ways I've seen Glint being used. And if you come up with a different way, you can just put it in the chat, talk about it. But I'll try to give you this inspiration and take what feels right. So since Glint's a website, you just have to log in on any device, right? Computer, an iPad, a Chromebook, it doesn't really matter. You could also full screen in a present mode over here. This allows you to take the full extent of the visual. And sometimes I see this on an iPad. Sometimes I see this on screens in front of a classroom. Learners are coming up, they're clicking, they're benefiting from our voice, right?
Order.
They're coming up and hearing it for themselves. The second option we have is the share button on the top right. If you click on share, you have the option to download, to print, to copy paste. It's based on whatever's in your preview. You can also click this worksheet layout and turn this into a worksheet with one click of a button. I can add a name, a title, instructions, parent signature line, a lot of cool things that might be high yield to you. And then this is the really fun part where everyone's going to get involved. We're going to do something called Glint Anywhere. It's located on the top left when you click share. Glint Anywhere allows you to share visuals with anyone via links and QR codes. So by way of example, I'm going to have everyone scan my QR code right over here. Go ahead and try scanning my Glint board and see that you can get it on your device. So I'll give everyone a sec. You can go ahead. Let me know once you have it, and then try clicking on any symbol. And let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you hear it out loud. You hearing the symbols? So hopefully you're seeing this is the first time in history you can send a high quality visual to anyone, parents, families. They don't need accounts to access these. All they need is a device with internet access to get access to your visual. We're sending home social stories for behaviors at the home. We're sending home task analysis, right? And parents are raving because they're saying, wow, this is the first time I have materials that I can actually use and they're functional in the places I need them. Often you'll be working on something, a behavior, concept in the class. It's not really getting home and used that much, but this is just the easiest way you can send it home. Scott says my Zoom is not sharing audio. Oh, I might reshare in a sec. Should I reshare? Let me reshare. Let me share my audio. Hold on. Okay. We'll do that in a sec. But I'm sure when you clicked on it, you would get the audio. Now, you can share things via QR codes. You can also share them via links. You can copy paste this. I can text this to you. I can email it to you, whatever is needed. Yeah, like Julianne says, great feature for the home carryover, 100%. These links, Jessica, last indefinitely. So as long as you send them, they're good. And the really cool thing about it is this. If you updated a glint on your account and the parent or whoever has the link refreshes, it auto updates. So that's a really cool thing too. Now let me put a cherry on top for everyone. We also have something called the Glint mobile app. The Glint mobile app is a free app you can download. It allows anyone to scan your glints and take them offline. So you download, no login. If I scan a QR code or upload a link, I can actually save it and organize it and use it offline anywhere I am. So really amazing stories I hear from this part. It has to do with, being able to take a board out, to take something, go to McDonald's and order food for the first time. It has to do with taking these visuals to a zoo on a trip or an activity, and you're using it to, have some more functional communication in places where you might not have had it, right? Say someone has a device already. It's a great compliment because it means you don't have to go programming all those buttons. You actually have something that's made in the moment. So it's really, really helpful to have both those QR code functions, works on all devices, and the app itself, which is iPhone specific or iPad specific. So hopefully, yeah, Glen Mobile only on Apple right now. Great question, Caroline. However, that's why this link, you can get it on anything, Apple, Android, doesn't matter. So you're covered either way. Okay. So we just did some sharing stuff. Any like questions so far? Things like that to bring up before we move on? All right, nice.
All right, really quick.
Yeah, question.
I'm looking at one of the core boards, and like many of us do, we have the pronouns have like I slash me slash my. Is there a way to kind of customize? Because when I press it, it says all of the above, including the slashes. Is there a way to like customize what voice output goes different than the label?
Yeah, yeah. So when you're clicking edit visuals and you select something, that'll be the speaking text. That allows us to change what it says. I can say, I love chairs. And then clicking on it.
I love chairs.
Did everyone hear that one? Okay,
Can
cool.
you
So
do
there's,
the top though where it says chair? Just say I, me, my, but not speak that? Like, can you do that
yeah,
too?
yeah, I
Yeah.
can break it. You know what I mean? Like the symbol word is what's displayed and the speaking text is what's spoken. And then, like I mentioned, if I clicked on this, I can even program my voice into a button. So I can say, hello. And now this button has my voice. Hello. Actually, I didn't click on it. But yeah, good questions. I want to tell everyone a little bit about something called Glint Flow. So we're going to do an example with this board, and then I'll do an example later on too. Glint Flow is really, really amazing. It allows you to edit things on the fly. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but we call it Glint. Like the reason this whole project is called Glint is because each visual that we make, which we call a glint, should shine to who it's created for, right? That's like our mission. Our mission is you could make a visual that's specific to the learner it's made for. Glint flow just allows you to go with the flow. You might ask for something initially and it's not exactly right. You want edits, you want changes. Or someone might send you a glint and you're like, hey, I love this social story, but I want it for another level. I'm going to go here in glint flow and I'll be able to actually tell it what I want to see differently. So I'll say, add a row about T. I don't know what it's going to add, but I'm going to say add a row about T. What I can do is prompt Glint Flow with any sort of request I have on changes. It could be adding things, it could be changing things. So it added tea, teapot, tea latte. I love that. It could change colors. It can modify this. I could have said like, make every single thing in this board a phrase, and it would do that. It's all about your imagination and being able to ask for what you want. It's super low stakes when you make something and you don't like it, you click undo, you're back to where you were. If you find something that Glint Flow cannot do, you click on this button that says beta and you paste in your prompt right over here. And we can program it to be able to do what you ask for. But it's pretty competent at making contextual changes based on what you asked for already. There is a little prompting guide over here that we put together to give people access to like, what are common prompts? How are people using it? It's going to be better once we do another example. You'll see it to be like become more functional. So I'll end with that. Everyone feel good about the grid structure, like the grids themselves? And Caroline, she brought up a good point about core boards. Caroline, I like that point a lot. We're going to go back to core boards. I think next session I'll get more in depth and we can have another side chat together about that a bit more. Okay. Now I want to make a second type of thing, everyone. So we're going to select a template. I'm going to make a social story. I feel like that's a good example. For this one, I'm going to ask the audience for a topic. If someone wants to put a topic in the chat, and then also if someone wants to choose a language over here, any specific language or prompts that I should type in here?
How about how to wash hands in Vietnamese?
I love it. How to wash hands. How to wash hands. And then Vietnamese, I'll just go Vietnamese. Love it. Are you okay with 5 lines, 5 steps? Okay. Word complexity, would you like to change that or keep it elementary?
Keep it elementary.
Alrighty. Now, last things I want to show, there's a plus button here. What's this plus button for? You can add files or photos. Whatever thing you import into here, it can take that content, ingest it, and turn it into your format. Sometimes it's a curriculum thing, sometimes other things. You can take that, we take the context and put it into our template we're making. You also can use Google Images as a default. If you want everything to default as a real photo, you can select this. There's a couple side notes, but we're going to go ahead. Social story, 5 lines, English and Vietnamese, how to wash hands. Sometimes Glint will ask us a follow-up question and it says, hey, do you want to have a specific situation or do you want to just go general? So maybe I'll say washing hands after using the bathroom, if that's okay. So imagine if you're doing this by hand, how long might this take you to make if you're doing this social story specifically? Some time, right? But Glint will do it in just a couple of seconds. Glint pretty much has created this already right for me. So now check this out. Like I mentioned to you, the voice output.
Tôi đi vệ sinh.
Does anyone speak Vietnamese here? Here you
Tôi
go.
bật nước và dùng xà phòng.
Glint can speak in the language selected. And if we click on speech on the top right, we can have this speak in English only, in our second language, or both languages back to back.
Tôi xả tay bằng nước sạch.
I rinse my hands with clean water.
So it can fully speak in the languages. If we wanted, we could even click the voice picker, change different types of voices, accents, and speeds. All of that is available. And there's so many different types of options. I did see a question from Julianne who said, any security privacy issues for using photos of students? So great question. Glint is a provider platform. What we do is we protect all your student data. We've gone through this with some of the leading districts, and we have data privacy agreements with, I think, over 26 states. So the really awesome thing about this is we take very great precautions. All your data stays internal, especially with your when you're a district. It doesn't get shared to anyone. It's not with anyone else. And you won't be able to upload anything with someone else's photo so that other people can see it. Like that's not physically possible. We have safeguards in place. So you can rest assured. I got a question. Can we try Polish? I'd love to try Polish. So for a refresher, I have a Vietnamese social story. I can click on edit visuals, translate, and look up Polish. I'm assuming we have a Polish speaker, so please keep us honest here. Please let us know what you think.
I will try.
Odkręcam wodę i używam mydła.
What do you think?
Good.
Szoruję dłonie przez 20 sekund.
There we go. So languages are really amazing here because the thing is we started Glint with like speech pathology, with speech departments, with special ed departments, and then over time, as we kept going into more districts, the ELL, ENL departments were coming to us. They're like, wait, why don't I have this? Like I want this for my students. And we just end up having this whole I need this type of phase. So it's pretty cool. But this is just how we try to meet our learners at all the levels they're at. We do have a specific focus on underserved languages. So if you take a look later and look through, we have a lot of cool, really awesome languages that you can take a look at. So if there's a language you don't see, try us out. Let us know if you don't see it. All right. Something about the social story specifically is you could always turn it into a book, which turns pages. And by the way, you can share it as a book too. So if anyone wants this social story, so Caroline, this is your social story. You can have it now. If you scan this, it's yours now. And you can send it to whoever you want. Okay. Now for that advanced Glint flow editing, I just wanted to show. So Glint flow is really cool because I can actually go in and change, reading levels. I can change into real images. Like there's so many things I could do. As an example, I can say, make this more complex, 8th grade reading level. So I just said, I gave it this prompt, make it more complex, 8th grade reading level. Right? I send it in, and let's see how Glint will go in and be able to edit contextually to make this a little different type of write-up for us. So there you go. You can actually make this more advanced. Sometimes folks add articulation to this. So Glint knows, like if you say, hey, in each line, I need a word with a medial L, you can do that too. So I highly encourage checking out social media for some of the ways people use it in that way, because people are a million times more creative than I will ever be, and I defer to that expertise that people find. So play around with Glint Flow. It's going to be very fun. All right. Everyone else feel good so far? All right. Now, some housekeeping things on your left-hand side, that always has your recents. So if you made something in the past, it's going to be there. Whatever you last modified or made. So this is our Vietnamese. This is now our Polish one. This is my coffee shop. If I right click, I can rename these, I can copy them, or even convert it to another type of template. So if I wanted to convert this, I can be like, hey, I want this social story to be now WH questions, and I could do that. Another thing to check out, I want to save something with you all. So if I click on save on the top right, you have two places to save, your personals, and if you're part of a district or organization, it will say share with your district right over here. Oh, awesome. I forgot to see the chat, but Diane, hey Diane, nice to see you. Tagalog, I love it. Marshallese. Yeah, Marshallese. We love that. Really cool language. Back to saving. Over here, this is your personal Glint library you can save it to. And then if you're part of a district, it'll say share with your district name. I'm going to check that off. Mine is called Nerchat. That's my company. I will click on it and save this in, uh, save it right here. No folder. Click on save. If I click on library on the top left, there are three parts to our library. The first is my private library, my Glints. I can have folders. I can share them amongst each other. We also have a public library. This is sort of our free version of Teachers Pay Teachers, which has thousands of pre-made activities. And I was just talking to Lauren about this too. People are adding into here. So if you see it, it's rapidly growing. We do have some presets like early literacy boards, core boards, task analysis, and more. But there's some really amazing things that you can get in here. And if you see something you like, you can click on it, add it to your own, and you can edit it with Glint Flow or manually yourself. Then is that organization library. So Nerchat on the top right, here's where I have it. This is all the things people from Nerchat have made. So Kelly, aka Ricky, has made some things in here. It's an inside joke, by the way. Scott's made a lot of things in here. We got some nice folders. What's really cool is there's two ways you can interact with this. So, by the way, when people have this for districts, they're making folders for curriculums, they're making folders for classrooms. They're sharing amongst each other, building by building, and there's just so much more carryover, right? You're not remaking the same social story over and over. Scott said he's in my Glint. What's the name of my Glint again, Scott? Which social story did you make? Washing hands? Wash. Here we go. Okay. Good example we're going to do right now. There are two ways I can interact. Oh yeah, Caroline says this third section groups, you've been added to a district. Yeah. So like when you sign on as an organization, you get this third tab. That's right. So I was just explaining you can go ahead, make folders, work with each other, and there's two ways that you can actually work on something with somebody. Number one, I could save my own copy if I don't want to disturb what's made. And the second thing is I can edit someone's board at the same time as someone else, like Google Docs. So look, I'm going to click Edit Shared Board. And do you see at the top it says SS? That's Scotty Soifer. That's who I was telling you about earlier. He said, "Hi, California." I'll just message him back, "Hey." And Scott, you want to just edit something? I'm going to take my hands off. You want to edit like a color of a background? I'll wait for him to edit if he can hear us. But pretty much any edits that he does on his end will automatically sync to my platform like Google Docs. Is he editing? Are you editing? Oh, he edited. He made the first slide. Oh, he's changing it. So anyways, if you wanted to work on something at the same time as someone else, you can definitely do that too. And I could always go, your changes are saved. No worries. I can go back to my old versions if I think Scott messed it up. I can restore it. We're back. So that's another really cool example. And that was all in library at the top left. So remember, library has your Glints, your public library, and your organization library. We're winding down. I just want to show a couple of last features, and then this will be the end of like this intro, high level type of thing. Trust me, there's a lot of other cool things that we're going to discuss in the next one. And you may have seen some sneak peeks about them. So that'll be discussed later. Two last things. Top right has your settings. On your settings button, this is where you should initially come in and configure things that you want as a default across a lot of what you're making. Like your default speech voices, you can change. Like your reading complexity. If you do want high contrast as a default, if you want your text on the bottom. The Fitzgerald key is defaulted as off, but if you want that on, go ahead and turn that on. And then a couple of other really cool features, like vernacular. Now, arguably the most important thing that I did mention before as like a takeaway is support and how we actually build things and what comes next. So people will know, and if they're on this call, they can attest to this. we are hyper involved in your Glint journey. So when someone gets on our platform, we're not just saying, hey, great, like you're using us, like we're gonna forget about you. Like we care very deeply about how you use it and what you want to see better. And the way we do that is through this question mark on the top right, where you have a little help center, but this box specifically where it says your message, anything you type in right over here, my entire team gets a direct message on in real time. And if you don't believe me, you can see. People put in here questions, they put in here feature requests. If you have templates that you want to make and you're like, oh, I wish Glint could make this as a template, you can upload a file of what you're doing already manually, and we'll add it to our roadmap of something we'll create soon. So it all is based on popular demand. Like I'm serious, it's all about, quantity, frequency, who's telling us like what they want. If we're getting those requests, we're going to be like, let's make this. And we iterate very rapidly. We care super, super much about this experience and what comes next. So a lot of that is dictated by what you mentioned. So even if you're part of a Glint district and you put in your phone number over here, someone will call you that same day. So that's a really cool thing. Anyways, that is our grand overview, like the very high level of Glint. I know hopefully I've given you a taste of what's possible, but that was intentional. It might have felt like a lot. What I wanted you to do, and I'll go back to that slideshow here. What I want people to do is definitely get in here. Oops, not to get in touch yet. Come over here, make your own account, try it out. Like now that I've given you some high level over here, go ahead and actually explore for yourself and see what's available and what you can create. And this is going to be such a fun time. Like unleash your creativity, get in there, start making things. And for the next session, please bring your questions, bring your wish list items, bring whatever topics you want to talk about, and we'll get into that very deeply and talk implementation. So awesome. So yeah, Brianna, hopefully that answers your question and what will be covered in part 2. And in order to get in contact with us, if you're thinking about bringing Glint to your district or you have someone who you think might benefit, we'd love if you can spread our mission. This is kind of the page where you can schedule some time with us and get in touch. Why does a light bulb have a hole in its head? It's a great question. Yeah, you want to know why? The real reason? I think it's we used to have like a lightning bolt that used to like our Nerchat logo had a lightning bolt, so I feel like it's a placeholder for the lightning bolt, right? The light has to come out, can't be stuck in the light bulb.
I love it.
That's where it gleams. That's right, Caroline. All right, Jennifer and Mimi, anything else that
All
I'm missing?
right. I
That was
think
fantastic.
yeah, that was fantastic. All right. So, as we wrap up today, I know you guys have been putting a lot of really nice things in the chat. We're super excited again to have Dylan and Scott here sharing all of this with us today. And again, for you guys spending part of this end of your crazy kitchen is on fire end of year season with us. So, reminder, well, we do have a little intentional close activity that we'd like you guys to do. So I don't know, Dylan, if you want to go to a couple more slides. And then so just think as you're leaving today, how might a tool like Glint help you or help take something off that plate while also increasing access and participation for your students? So I think already, like I've seen this a little bit before, but I'm just like super excited. I see so many different uses and ways that it could speed up my practice. So hopefully you guys are also feeling that same way. So just think about that as we are wrapping this up today. We'd love it if you guys would do a quick feedback survey for us. That's on the next slide. We love trying to schedule webinars that we think are going to really address accessibility and touch as many people as we can across not only the state of California, but anyone else who might happen to join us. So on that next slide, Dylan, there's a quick feedback survey that we'd love to get from those of you who are still here. And then we will plan to see you next Thursday. So this was a Wednesday. Next week it's Thursday, same time. You guys should all have a calendar invite on your calendars so that you do not forget. And we will see you 3 o'clock next week. So thank you, thank you. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. See you.